Hello friends, and welcome to the first video of 2026. I hope that your holiday season has been going well, went well. I just got back from a family trip and it was amazing. I am slowly coming back to just creating and redefining what I want to bring in for 2026. So I figured that a nice way to come back into YouTube after taking a couple of weeks off from doing Vlogmas, that I would just have a nice little chit chat with you guys about my goals, my intentions for 2026, as well as doing a little bit of reflection. I feel like whenever I sit down and do some sort of reflection of what I've accomplished throughout the year, it really helps set the tone of what I want to continue working on for the new year, as well as celebrating my wins. I'm excited to share with you guys some of my goals for 2026. There is so much excitement that I've been feeling for this year, so much anticipation. There are a lot of things happening both in my personal life that I want to bring forth this year, as well as business, career-wise, creative-wise. So that being said, friends, this is going to be a fairly chatty video. So get comfortable and let's start with my 2025 recap. 2025 for me was a year where I experienced just feeling stuck. There was a lot of change happening. There was a lot of loss happening, as well as a lot of rediscovering of myself. It was a year that I definitely call my transformation year, a year that not only so many things changed, but I also found myself coming back to myself, coming back to old patterns and cycles that served me so much prior, and that I had let go of them, and somehow they came back to me this year because life works that way and it shifts you back to those routines that made you feel encouraged and safe. 2025 was the year that I shed so many layers of myself that I had accumulated over the years that I thought defined who I was, but in reality, I ended up finding out that these were things that I was using to cover up who I really am. And towards the end of 2025, I slowly started shedding those layers of myself and welcoming in those old / new perspectives that defined me, that I felt encompassed who I am as a person. 2025 was also the year where I redefined so many aspects of my life, such as what joy means to me, such as what fulfillment means to me. I redefined so many aspects of my life that I had been holding on to, or I had certain views of, and ended up finding out that those things did not serve me. And I ended up redefining those aspects of my life to what felt good, to what felt like me. I couldn't be more grateful for that part of 2025 that allowed me to introduce new perspectives into my life, to allow myself the opportunity for me to be the one to define how I wish to live, how I wish to see life. I am a person who's very passionate about personal discovery, and I am always aiming to be better, to become better. 2025 really was that year that allowed me to let go of so many layers of myself that I had accumulated over the years. And I am just forever grateful that 2025 allowed me to rediscover myself in a new light, but also come back home to myself, like I mentioned, to those routines and beliefs, just things that made me feel safe prior that I had forgotten about, that I thought for some reason I didn't need anymore. For me, the past few years were years that I picked up so many ambitions and visions of who I thought I should be. And I took those things and I told myself that I was these things, or I was going to aim to be those things, not realizing all the beautiful things I already was. Last year was that year that really made me realize how much of myself I already am, how much of myself I already like being. And I felt like 2025 was a year where I wanted to discover myself and do new things and do new business ventures and do all these things creatively, which is not bad. I'm a person who loves trying new things and pushing myself. But because I became so fixated on these things, I let go of all the other things that I truly loved doing that made me feel so happy, because I thought I needed to continue to elevate myself and do more. So 2025 was really that year where I realized how much I like who I am in this moment and how much I've loved doing things in the past that once again made me feel safe, that made me feel loved and seen, and really allowed me to be creative in ways that I love. I hope this is making sense. For me, 2025 was just sort of a homecoming year, a year where I came back to myself, to old patterns, to old ways that are good, that served me, that I thought I was done with. Last year, I started off the year feeling stuck, feeling like I didn't have the space to fully be who I wanted to be. And last year, I really said yes to a lot of things. Me and my husband moved. We moved to this little cottage here in the countryside. I told myself that I really wanted to focus on YouTube and build community on YouTube and see how much I could grow on YouTube. I think I started off the year with maybe 2,000 followers. I had been doing YouTube a little bit on and off, and I wasn't consistent with YouTube. And last year I really said, I am going to focus on YouTube and I'm going to really give it a try and see if this is going to be sustainable for me. I focused. I was very tunnel vision with YouTube and I was having so much fun, and I still am. And it really showed me how much your passions can lead you to beautiful things. I grew this channel. I think we're at 14,000 followers now. I am so proud of that number. I am so proud for all the beautiful people that are on here watching my videos and being so supportive. So that was a big accomplishment for me last year. Last year was also the first year that I started a garden, which I terribly failed at, but I learned so much. It made me realize how much I love being outdoors and how much I love just getting dirty in the soil and planting and nurturing something to grow. Last year, we also grew our family. We got a new dog, Bilbo, and he has been the best little thing ever. We have now 2 dogs. You guys have been here for a minute. You guys know. 2025 overall was the year that I felt completely stuck in some areas in my life, and it showed me how much by saying yes to life, you can learn so much about yourself, how much just giving yourself a chance to try new things, to fail at it and be okay with it, how much all of that can teach you. To be scared of things and just doing it anyways, and how it's okay not to know where life is leading you in any aspect of your life, and to just trust in yourself, to trust in your willingness to see what life can be, to trust in yourself that you're not going to give up. And 2025 really taught me that of myself, how much I didn't give up on myself and how much the power of yes can do so much for you. Now, like I mentioned, last year was the year that I declared my yes year, where I said just yes to anything that I felt drawn to. That was my year that I said yes, yes, yes. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to throw myself in there. Now, this year, I want to declare this year to be my trust fall year. The year where I just trust in life and let everything fall into place. Because as much as I said yes to everything last year, it was a year that I experienced so much worry. I may not have shown it through camera, but it was a year that I was constantly worried, whether it was monetary, financial worries, whether it was health worries, whether it was just business worries, creative worries, anything you can think of. I spent a lot of 2025 worrying. And I know worrying, at least for me, is not something I can just turn off. It was very exhausting. It was very exhausting to be what I like to call a chronic worrier, because as much as I tried to focus on other aspects in my life, to not worry so much about the little things or the big things, it was really hard to turn that off. And I really want this year to be different for me. I know I can't turn it off, like I mentioned, but I feel like I can direct my energy towards things that I can control, because when I'm worrying about things, it's usually things I can't control. And what I've discovered is that focusing on things that I can control, that are things that I am able to do, even if it's small, whatever the case might be, that really takes a load off from the worriness that I tend to experience. So I want this year to be my trust fall year, the year that I just trust that things are going to work out, or trust that things are going to unfold how they're supposed to unfold, and know that I can't control all aspects around me, and lean into the surprise of life, lean into the not knowingness of life, and being okay with not knowing the results, and being okay with surprises, because life is a surprise. Every day is a surprise, and just let things fall into place. So I want to worry less this year as much as I can, and I'm trying to find little ways that I can slowly turn the switch off with my worryingness. Another way that I want to hopefully heal or treat my worryingness, if that's even a word, I don't know, is to be present more. I feel that times in the past where I'm super fixated on an outcome and it's making me worried, I totally take away from being present. My mind just naturally goes into this place of panic mode and worrying, and I completely get lost in that. And I want to practice more on being present. During times when I am feeling worried, I want to push that to the back of my mind as much as I can, and maybe go outside, touch some grass, sit outside, maybe meditate a little bit, read something heartwarming, play with my pups, cook, bake, do something that will allow me to come back to present moment. That is what I want my intention to be this year, is to be present more. Worry less, be present more. Worry less and just trust more. Trust that everything will fall into place. Another intention of mine for this year is to nurture my passions. Now, like I've mentioned already, last year was the year that I said yes to everything. And as much as I was saying yes to everything, it became very overwhelming. I was introducing so many things that I wanted to do. As someone who is multi-passionate about a lot of things, it became really hard to focus on certain aspects in my life. It was great to try new things. It was great to just say yes and see if I'm good at things, or see what certain things can become. But I want this year to be the year that I truly nurture my passions, to really focus on the things that bring me so much joy, on the things that I've been anticipating for my business. I am an illustrator, I am a writer. Last year was spent a lot on just trying new things, and I really want this year to be the year that I hone into these beautiful things in my life that I enjoy and nurture them. And by nurturing, I mean spending time doing them, get better at certain skills, to try and practice these things as much as I can. And I'm not just talking about business-wise, creative-wise, I'm also talking about spiritual practices, things that I love. I want to spend more time this year doing them. I don't want to just talk about it and dream about it. I want to do it. I want to put action behind them, which I did last year. I did nurture them, but I think this year I want to shorten my list of things that I wish to do. That way I can give myself the opportunity to evolve in these places in my life. I am that person that gets excited about so many things. I am a Gemini, and I bring all these things into my life, and I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. Oh, look, that thing is shiny. Oh, look, that blah, blah, blah. I get sidetracked very fast, and I get so excited about so many things, and I want to try everything. But I do realize that doing all of that takes me away from actually evolving in certain places in my life. And I really want this year to be the year where I evolve. I evolve spiritually, creatively, as a human, get better and grow in those places in my life that make me feel all giddy and excited. So those are my intentions for 2026, friends. So this year is going to be my trust fall year. I am claiming that to be be the theme for 2026. Let me know if you're also having a trust fall year. I think for all of us who are chronic worriers, who just tend to worry so much about life, which is so hard to just not worry, let me know if you're having also a trust fall year. We might not be perfect at it, but at least the intention is there to try and worry less and trust that things are going to work out, and we can do so by just being present in the now and not fixating so much in how things are going to evolve. Now let's talk about some of my goals for 2026. And these are goals that are going to be for my creative business. These are goals for my personal life, things that tend to my spirit. So these are goals surrounding all of that. I wrote them down on my phone, that way I wouldn't forget. So my first goal is to draw more and focus on developing my art and skill set. I would also love to learn animation. As many of you guys know, I am an illustrator. I am a writer. I wrote my own book, Incantations Embodied, as well as illustrated it. It was published by an indie publisher in 2023, I believe. I've also illustrated previous book covers as well as a tarot deck. I have all these things on my portfolio. I've worked with indie publishers. I've worked with writers. I feel like I was really in the hype of my career in the beginning of COVID, and there were so many things happening around my illustration and writing career that things really started taking off, and I was so excited about all of that. And for the last 2 years, I've taken a sort of halt to illustrating and writing. I focus more on YouTube and I focus more on content creation, which has been amazing. I feel like I really needed the break because I was doing big projects back to back, but I feel like this year I really want to come back to building my creative portfolio, building my illustration portfolio. I mentioned before that I really want to get into illustrating for children's books as well as graphic novels. So I really want to nurture those aspects in my creative life. I want to nurture my skill sets. I want to learn animation. Like I mentioned, I know a little bit of animation, but there's so much that you can learn in animation. And I would love to take a sort of animation class. Don't know where I would take it. Or I could also learn on YouTube University. There is so much free information that you can learn from YouTube. So maybe I can start there. But I would love to evolve my illustration skill set. My illustration has evolved so much for the past 7 years or so, and it keeps evolving, and I'm super excited to just continue nurturing that aspect in my life. Another goal is to start a snail mail club. So let me go back a bit. I actually had a Patreon for the last 5 years or so that I ended up canceling last month. I let all my patrons know that I was canceling my subscription through Patreon, which I offered behind the scenes pictures, writings, monthly mail that I would ship to anyone who was subscribed, which was a little postcard and a sticker. I had exclusive videos on there. I ran a book club on there. And as much as I loved it, I felt like it was time for me to let that part of me go. I made a whole video to my patrons sometime in the beginning of December, and I shared everything that was on my heart regarding me choosing to close down my Patreon. It was very emotional because Patreon was one of those first platforms that allowed me to gain some monetary compensation for my art that was monthly. It was a sustainable thing that was coming in every month. And it was scary to close it down as someone who is a freelance illustrator. But what I realized about Patreon is that I have a really hard time juggling so many things at once. 2025 was a year, like I mentioned, that I really wanted to focus on content creation, which I feel like I nailed it. But I was juggling so much, and I often felt that I wasn't showing up as much as I would want to on Patreon. And one thing about me is that I'm not going to continue running some subscription-based thing if I feel like I am not putting my 110% on there. So I decided to shut it down. And what I want to do is actually start up back again the meld subscription that I was running on Patreon, which that was always the intention when I closed down Patreon, was to just focus on the mail subscription. But I want to do it off of Patreon. I am going to do a monthly mail subscription on my website that is soon to come. And I really love this idea because as much as we live in a digital age where we're constantly just scrolling or watching videos, I want to offer my community a way where they can still also detach from the digitalness that we live in and come back to that lost art of receiving something in the mail. A postcard, stickers, affirmations, poetry, a letter, which are all things that I will be including in my monthly mailed subscription that is, again, soon to come, and I am so excited. I guess we'll just share the name of the snail mail club that will be opening soon. I decided to name it Dancing Daughter Dispatch. I really wanted a name that represented who I am. I am the eldest daughter of 4. I am someone who is, I would consider myself free-spirited, and as much as I tend to take life very seriously, I feel like dancing allows that place of playfulness and fluidity and allowing joy and imagination take place. And dispatch, well, I think it just sounded magical. Better than post or mail. So Dancing Daughter Dispatch, which is a monthly mailed subscription where you will be receiving a nice little package of a postcard, stickers, poetry, activities, prompts, affirmations, stories. It's going to be a mesh of so many little different things, and it's going to be different every month. That is soon to come. I am working on finalizing my January curated little list of things that I will be offering. It's all going to be written by me, illustrated by me, packaged by me. I am very excited about that. If you want more information on that, I always suggest to sign up for my newsletter. I do have a newsletter on my website. My website is always linked down below. I will be sending a newsletter once that becomes available, as well as mentioning it on here. Another creative goal for me would be to reach 30,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Last year, I had a goal to reach 8,000 subscribers, and I ended up reaching 14,000 subscribers, which is insane. I surpassed my goal by almost half, and that is amazing of what my initial goal was. So this year I would love to make it to 30,000 subscribers. I feel like I could do it. We'll see. I am going to continue being consistent on YouTube. I have currently been posting a video a week, and that is still my plan. I'm going to keep at it, and hopefully the community keeps growing. So those were some of my creative business goals. Now for some of my personal goals. I would love to do more outdoor activities. Me and my husband love nature. We love the outdoors. And last year, because we were getting settled into the new place and there was a lot of going back and forth, I also got a major surgery last year that I couldn't do too much after the fact. So we didn't do as much camping and stuff that we enjoy. So this year I do want to do more of that. I want to do camping, and I want to do hiking. I want to do some bike trails and just spend more time outside. One of our biggest things that we want to do this year that we keep talking about, me and Brandon, is to visit national parks. We have always wanted to visit national parks or get our count up from the national parks that we visit, because we have visited some before. We've gone to the Yosemite area, we've gone to, which is Sequoia, Kings Canyon. So we've done those, but that's all we've done. And I have listed a few. I do live in California, so I want to visit some of my local ones and then maybe go more upstate. So go up to Oregon as well as Washington. So the first one I want to visit here in California, which I've never been to, is Joshua Tree National Park. I also want to visit Lassen Volcanic National Park, which we live relatively close to. And I also want to visit Redwood National and State Park here in California. I cannot believe I have not gone to the Redwoods. I've been dreaming of going to that one for many years, and I really want this year to be the year that I get to visit that national park. Brandon and I would also love to go up to Crater Lake National Park in Oregon. We've gone to Oregon before once, and we completely loved it. And we live a few hours away from Oregon, so driving is definitely doable. We would also love to visit Mount Rainier in Washington State. My husband's brother just moved there as well, so it would be nice to just go up there, visit him, and go visit Mount Rainier. I know they have a couple other national parks, but Mount Rainier has been at the top of my list for a while now. And this last one is not technically a national park, but I've been dying to go visit it. It is the Dinosaur National Monument in Utah. Fun fact about me, I love prehistoric history. Dinosaurs is one of those things that is very fascinating to me. Dinosaurs is one of those things where it just still baffles my brain that they even roamed this world. This Dinosaur National Monument is in Utah, and it just looks amazing. I watched videos on it in on TikTok, and it looks great. And it's about, I want to say, like 13 hours from us driving. It would be nice for me, Brandon, and the dogs to take a little road trip and go visit this monument. I would really love to do that this year. So hopefully we can plan that out. So because I want to spend more time outside, I want to get into biking. I am someone who loves to move my body in fun ways. I have a really hard time just going to the gym and working out because that kind of feels boring to me. When I was younger, my way of working out was playing sports. I played a lot of sports actually when I was in high school and even younger, and that was fun for me. And though I wouldn't join a team these days, I would love to move my body in different ways that feel fun. And for me, biking seems or looks fun. Me and Brandon would love to buy a bike this year as a way to not only move our bodies, but just enjoy nature, being outside more. This year, I also want to cook more. The last 2 years, if you've been following my story, the last 2 years we lived with my parents. It was a household full of people. And this past year, once we moved to the cottage in June, I got back into cooking. I got back into falling in love with cooking, and it's been really great. But I stayed consistent to my similar meals that I had been doing, and I really want to expand my cooking skills this year. I want to expand my dishes this year. And a fun way that me and Brandon are going to do this is that I'm going to learn how to cook soul food. I'm very excited about that. Me and Brandon have a deal. I'm going to learn how to cook soul food, and he is going to learn how to speak Spanish. Yep, it's a done deal. After being together for 11 years, I think it is time that he fully knows Spanish. So he's going to learn Spanish, and I am going to learn how to cook soul food. This year, I also want to expand my garden. Last year was a trial year. It was that year where I just threw myself in there and I was like, okay, we'll see how things come out. And oh boy, did I learn a lot. I've gathered all those things I've learned, and I really want to expand the garden this year. I want to probably get maybe 2-3 more garden beds, and I want to do a flower and herbal garden. I want to focus on growing herbal medicines. I want to focus on growing flowers. Last year, I grew a couple of vegetables, some flowers, and that was great. But this year, I really want to focus more on medicinal herbs and flowers. The idea would be that I will love to grow them, harvest them, dry them, create medicines with it, create things with them. That would be the goal. So I want to start there this year and see how that goes. This year, I also want to do more feel-good things, is what I'm calling them. Things that I used to do before that I sort of lost my way over the last couple years. And I'm finding that I'm coming back to those things, and it makes me so excited because these were practices or things that I would do when I was learning so much about my spiritual practice, connecting to my roots, connecting to my art. And over the years, like I've expressed, I've sort of lost my way and left those things behind. And at the end of last year, I was coming back to a lot of those things. And some of those things are journaling more. I have this journal that I love that I bought in like 2021, and I still have not finished writing in it. And it's not that long. And that made me realize how much I am not consistent with my journaling. I counted the pages that I journaled last year, and I think it's like 10, which is crazy to me because journaling was one of those things that really made me feel safe and heard and validated in how I was feeling. It was my safe place to just go and unburden myself. I don't do it as much. I haven't been doing it as much. I did my first journal entry a couple days ago, and that felt so good. And I started reading all of my previous pages from when I first started the journal, and something within me made me feel so emotional about the intention of what journaling has been for me that it made me realize, why did I stop doing this as often as I would do it? And again, I think it's just because I became so caught up with all these aspects in my life that I thought, oh, I don't need that anymore. I'm good now. But it's not about just being good, that you don't need those things. For me, it's about just continuing to nourish my cup, continuing to nourish my body, my spirit, my mind. And for me, that is something that I'm always going to need. It is a sacred practice, journaling. It's not about whether I need it or not. It's about just nourishment. It's about consistency to continue feeling good in my body, in my mind, in my spirit. I guess you could say I do need it. Whatever. But I hope you guys know what I mean. Another feel-good thing that I used to do a lot before that I am now coming back to is listening to high vibrational music. I used to love listening to affirmation music, to meditation music. And again, somewhere along the way, I decided I didn't need them anymore. Now I'm coming back to those things, and oh my gosh, does it make me just feel full of energy. It makes me feel so good in my body. So I want to do more of that this year, listening to high vibrational music, affirmation music, meditation music, and just dance, release, move, or maybe just be still and just listen and let the sounds just sort of wash over me. It feels so good. I would also love to continue nourishing my tarot practice, my astrology practice. I used to love astrology and I am finding my way getting back into it. And one of the ways that I'm doing that is I'm actually using the Chani 2026 astrology / planner. I have been following Chani for so many years. They are a professional astrologer. I remember when I first got into astrology, I bought their book. I forgot what it's called, but I bought their book. And that really opened my eyes to the power of astrology. And my friend let me know that they actually came out with a 2026 planner, which has some very important astrology dates on it. It's just a great planner because they combine astrology in their magic, prompts, all these amazing things that I love. So of course I had to buy it. And I'm very excited for it. I already broke it in. I've been writing on it. The really cool thing about it is that it gives you sort of like little prompts every day. It gives you a space to be creative, as well as a space for you to plan your day. It also has some very important dates on there as far as astrology goes. There's like place fillers where you can fill your astrology chart as well. I've been learning a lot about astrology simply just by using the planner. I also have the app, which I highly recommend. This is not sponsored, by the way. I just really love Chani. I love their work. I love the things that they offer. So this is one of the ways that I am staying on top of just astrology and magic and tarot, because those are all things that fill my cup, that nourish me. This year, one of my biggest goals is honestly just showing up for myself. And that means showing up for my spiritual practice, for my creative practices, just showing up for myself and pouring into myself and doing the things that bring me comfort, joy, and safety. I am coming back to those things that filled my cup, and I'm so excited for it because I feel like I've been running on E the last couple of years. As much as I've been doing, I do feel like I've been doing all those things in a way from an empty cup, and it's been draining. So I really want to pour into myself this year so I can continue evolving, so I can continue creating. And then last but not least, I want to get back into reading this year. I feel like last year, with everything that was happening in my life, I really sort of fell out of reading, which saddens me because reading is a big aspect of who I am. So I really want to get back into reading, and I want to set myself a very small goal of just doing 20 books this year. I want to read 20 books this year. I actually already finished my first book, which maybe I'll talk about it in a separate video. It was a poetry book. I used to read a lot of poetry books. Again, I'm excited to be coming back to those practices. I went to Barnes & Noble's the other day and I bought 2 poetry books. I'm very excited for that, and I already finished one of them. It was amazing. I want to get back into reading poetry. I want to get back into reading fantasy, middle grade. I love a good middle grade book. Graphic novels. I just want to get back into reading books that made me feel excited about reading. And that is all, friends. Those are all my goals, my intentions for 2026. I am very excited for this year. I am excited to continue growing with all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope that you give yourself the opportunity to plan what you wish this year to look like. I know we are still in winter, and for me, truly, all this execution doesn't start until the spring, but I have been really feeling the call to start planning now so I can start setting the little seeds for when spring comes. I really hope that you have an amazing 2026. I am excited to share our first vlog following this one. It's going to be great. We're going to have an amazing 2026. And even if some aspects are not the greatest, we are not alone. And I hope you don't feel alone, because I hope that this is a place that you come to unwind, unravel, feel inspired, feel safe. All right, friends, I will see you soon for another video. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. Take care and bye for now.